Hi, I'm Megan from Weller Health Education at Lehigh Valley Health Network Riley Children's Hospital. And today I'm back with another video for our Workplace Readiness series. Today we're going to be talking about reliability and the importance of being a reliable employee.
So in order to be ready for the workplace, it's important to learn how to effectively and appropriately communicate with coworkers, supervisors, and customers. It's also important to determine what is the appropriate attire to be wearing, as well as how to be organized. And then another way that you can become prepared for the workplace is by being reliable. So, being reliable and dependable is a soft skill that companies and organizations look for in employees. A reliable and dependable employee is trustworthy and consistent. So, it's important to be reliable because it helps improve work relationships, it increases your self confidence, and it opens the door to new opportunities. So, in terms of reliability, it's important to honor your commitments. So, follow through on your promises. So, for instance, if you say you're going to complete a task by the end of the month, make sure that you follow through and actually do complete that task by the end of the month. To help you remember the tasks that you were assigned or that you said you would do, you can write them down in a calendar. Especially if you think you'll forget, you can also make a to-do list. So if you want to check out our video on organization, you can see how you can learn how to add on events to your calendar and set reminders on the to-do list. And the link to that video will be in this video's description. It's also important to put forth your best work effort. So that means, doing the best that you can on any assignments or projects and also focusing on it during work hours. So it's important to, in order to put forth your best effort on your work, it's important to avoid taking care of personal business during unscheduled breaks. And then another way to be reliable is to hold yourself accountable. So if you make a mistake, it's important to acknowledge your mistake, apologize for it, correct it, and learn from the mistake and try not to make it again in the future. So to become accountable for your mistakes, it's important to apologize soon after the incident in a private space. There's different methods of apology, so there's in person, phone call, Zoom, or email. But really, when you are apologizing for a mistake, it's important to do it in person. So when you are acknowledging and apologizing for your mistake, it's important to be sincere and take responsibility. Explain the plan that you want to take in order to correct the mistake and, commit to that plan as well. And it's also important to avoid using you language because that may come off as accusatory. And also, being accountable, holding yourself accountable also means when you work on a project with a coworker or with the supervisor, it's important to also provide credit to that person because they helped you complete the said project or task. So it's important not to take credit for all the work if your coworkers or your supervisors helped you with it. So another way to be a reliable employee is to be prepared for meetings. So there's several things that are necessary for that. So one thing you can do to prepare for a meeting is to know the purpose of the meeting. And if it's available ahead of time, read over the agenda so then you are fully prepared to be engaged in the meeting. And so there's different types of meetings. There are informational meetings, so that's where you are just provided information and maybe an update on a certain project or maybe a update that the whole entire organization is getting. And then another type of meeting is called a consultation meeting, and that is where either yourself may seek advice or a client or a supervisor or a coworker may seek advice on a project or a task. And then the final type of meeting is called a problem solving meeting, and that's where if there is a problem, that's when a team or maybe two individuals or three individuals will solve a problem together. And then it also provides an opportunity for anyone to share progress on their project. And so for those meetings, you may be asked to share your project and then ask for feedback on anything specific. So you may need to be prepared for that for problem solving meetings. And then you also need to know for the meeting, who will be attending as well as the location. So, since the COVID-19 pandemic, the rise of virtual platforms has become common within the workplace. So now meetings may be in person, they may be over the phone, or they may be done virtually on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Meets. If you want to learn more information about those different types of communication, you can watch our communication videos. And then also, while you are in the meeting, it's important to be an active participant. So that means taking notes, asking questions, participating in discussion. That shows that you're engaged in the meeting. And so if you aren't engaged at all during the meeting, it may appear that you're bored or that you're not paying attention. So it's really important to try and be as active as possible. Also, it's important to review notes from the meeting. They're also known as meeting minutes, and so you can always refer back to them. Also, in order to be a reliable employee, it's important to give yourself extra time to get ready for work as well as commuting to work. You may have unexpected weather and traffic, there may be a car accident, so it's really important to provide yourself a lot of time to get ready for. It's also important to arrive to work and to meetings on time. So if there's an emergency or an unexpected event, it's important to let your supervisors and coworkers know and clients, let them know as soon as possible. And that also means giving yourself plenty of time to not only arrive to work and to meetings on time, but completing projects and meeting deadlines. So it's important, obviously, not to miss deadlines because if you do, you'll feel really stressed out, you'll feel rushed, and then you may have to work beyond normal hours. So then again, it's really important to create a to-do list and use your calendar so you can know when task assignments and projects are due. So again, check out our video on organization on how you can use your calendar and your to-do list. Also, it's important to respond to meeting invites and emails in a timely fashion. So as we talked about in the communication videos, if you're not able to make it to a meeting, it's important to let the organizer know. Or if you're not able to get to an email immediately, you could just send a quick email saying, "Hey, thank you for sending me this email. I will review it over the next couple days and then I'll get back to you with my response." Just so the person who sent the email knows that you received and you acknowledge the email. So here's some things to avoid. So one thing to avoid is leaving tasks uncompleted, especially if you said you were committed to completing it. It's also important to avoid refusing to complete reasonable tasks. So if your supervisor gives you a reasonable task to complete, it's important not to refuse. Also, don't threaten to quit or resign if you don't get what you want. So for the two scenarios that I just described, it's important to set up a private time to meet with your supervisor and discuss how you can complete the task. And then for social media, obviously, unless social media is a part of your job, it's important to avoid using social media during unscheduled breaks. Obviously, before work, at lunchtime, or after work, it's fine to use social media because that is your time to be off from work, but it's important to avoid using it during unscheduled breaks. And some companies, they do have policies against using social media during work hours, so just be sure to be familiar with those policies and adhere to them. Also, just in general, avoid posting negative comments about your job, your coworkers, your supervisors, and your clients, because you never know who may see these posts and they may somehow be shown to your workplace, and that may have negative repercussions for you. So it's just best to avoid posting negative comments about your job and your coworkers and your supervisors, and even your clients too, on social media. All right, well, thank you so much for watching our quick video on how to be a reliable employee in the workplace. Please check out our other videos within the Workplace Readiness series, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.